Okay, gonna make a wee video about our mind. My mind is the only mind I can speak of when I'm in the 432 Hertz meditative state. That's the theta brainwave, just before delta, which is full-blown sleep. So for those of you that are not familiar, we start with the beta brainwaves, which is everyday consciousness. Then we slip down into alpha, which is a little bit drowsy. Then we slip down into the meditative state, which is theta, and then beyond that is delta, which is full-blown sleep. Now when we meditate, we endeavour to get into the theta. Many people can only get into the alpha, but if you do get into the theta, then you will experience many more things via your meditation. Now, many years ago, before I even took any psychedelics, I started meditating. Like 14 years ago. And on one particular occasion, I was meditating, coming back from the gym in the springtime. And I would walk through this park, which was given to a reasonably large pond with all different sorts of water birds and trees around it. And in front of this park there was a tree stump, and I used to sit there with the sun on my face and I would meditate listening to the birds. And on one occasion I saw crystal clear for quite a long time what can you say, like a parade of cartoon type characters. And some of you may even remember when I spoke about the pink gingerbread man and the blue bananas hanging on the trees with smiley faces, which like they'd been put on with an icing, cake icing tool, you know. So in this meditation, all of a sudden, crystal clear and full technicolor, I saw it was like one of these kids kind of like little projection machines. You put a slide in and then you turn this knob and it's like a movie. And it was like that. And the feeling was beautiful, innocent, joyful and playful. And there were trees which were kind of like orange trees with blue leaves and maybe pink bananas with you know, orange icing, smiley faces. Every single banana, about 100 bananas hanging from one tree, and they all had smiley faces. And then passed by was a gingerbread man, whether it was blue, orange or pink or some, you know, unusual colour, and with a beautiful icing smiley face with two eyes, you know. And it was absolutely wonderful. And to this day I've never had that back again in the meditation, save for the odd fleeting glimpse. Now what brought that to mind was that most days I will have an hour's meditation listening to theta music with my headphones on, lying down on the couch, and I'll drift in and out of consciousness. And when the meditation is coming to an end, when my body is ready, it's been satiated after about an hour, then I will see these like DMT-esque visions, and the visions are like Looney Tunes. You know when you see cartoon characters doing all different sorts of crazy things, like, you know, jumping on a springboard and whee, flying up into the sky and then exploding into a million stars, and then the stars fall down, and then all of a sudden they turn into frogs holding umbrellas, and just bizarre things like that. One after the other of the most peculiar, unusual, playful things. And I'm completely aghast where that stuff comes from. Very DMT-esque. When we take DMT, we see in absolute technicolor, unimaginable visions. You simply couldn't see higher pixelated visions from any of the you know, Bluetooth televisions if you got today. It just seems even higher than that. And when we take DMT with an open eye outside, then all the buildings turn immaculate into like Lego buildings. They are pristine beyond measure. And if there's a dirty old wall or a rusty old roof, everything is perfect. On one occasion, I took DMT in a wood by a swamp, by a river that was mostly dried up, and at the edge it was all swampy and boggy, and it looked, under normal egoic circumstances, kind of vile, smelly and bubbly, and you wouldn't want to fall in it. But when I took the DMT, it just turned into a rainbow of colours, and it was full of life, and it was wonderful, and everything's beautiful. What on earth happens to our minds? Well, the ego completely disappears. Our negative judgment completely disappears. In actual fact, all judgment disappears. We just see through the eyes of a baby. And that's why this line, what Jesus says, truly I say unto you, that you have to become like little children before you enter into the kingdom of God. This is the kingdom of God, people, that I'm speaking about. The kingdom of God is a beautiful, incredible, blissful mind, and it's playful and it's joyous. Now, as a 60-year-old man with an ego like mine, you would think that in my meditations I might see some horrible faces or some dark colours or some sharp edges and some swampy realms and this sort of thing. I never do. I always see this playful, beautiful, incredible Looney Tunes thing, and everything is just like woo, wee, and it's like, where did it come from? Where do you come from? Who are you? What are you? You're amazing. Is that what I am? Fundamentally, is that what I am? You know, there's many gurus that have spoken about that this experience is in actual fact all love. And I have never experienced the all love facet under normal egoic circumstances, but I have experienced it on DMT many, many times. I have experienced it when I'm in deep meditation, when the mind is absolutely settled. And I have experienced it when I've been doing vigorous exercise, then all of a sudden the world stands still. And all of a sudden you become God realized. You know that the whole world is for you and it's perfect and you're loved and you're cherished by the world, by the cosmos. So fundamentally, I am positive that this experience, this dimension along with all other dimensions, is fundamentally love and is perfect beyond measure. And I think in this dimension, the only thing that distracts us and takes us outside of the love is our ego, of course. Because the ego, the operating system of a human experience, it needs to have judgment. It needs to label. It needs to have biases. It needs to dismiss. It needs to have all these things for us to function like we do. And I've often tried to imagine how the world would be if our egos were not judgmental. Now, in my book, I speak about what Jesus meant by judge not, lest ye be judged. because I had a very special occurrence of when I realised exactly what that meant. And you see, this book, my life for the past 14 years, is about my experience realising what many, many brilliant people have said throughout thousands of years. They've told us that things are like this and things are like that, but we can't grasp them. We can't understand them. We can't be with them unless we enter into certain states of consciousness. And that's why taking psychedelics, entering into deep meditation, pushing the body under extreme conditions, all these things and many more, they will take you into altered states of consciousness where you will see things that you would never see under normal circumstances. And in my book it's chock-a-block full with all these experiences I've had over a 14-year period, and there's a lot of stuff. So this Looney Tunes, whatever the theme is, and anything you can imagine which is playful and absurd and imaginative. Like, I don't know, let's just say like you've got a mouse running with clown boots on, and then it bounces on the springboard and splatters against the wall into like a splattered paintball thing, and then as the paint drips down, you know, turns into like orange and pink striped lizard with smiley face and scuttle off and go ah and evaporate, and everything is fun, everything's amazing, everything's playful and beautiful and innocent. And I really am at a loss as to where that comes from. And as I sit here before you now, contemplating on the things I say and my dispositions, and how invariably they are a million miles away from what is at my core. What is at all of our core, I'm sure, is perfection. And some of us may see it, and so if any of you have ever seen anything like this and know what I'm speaking about, or maybe other very bizarre, peculiar anomalies of consciousness whereby you have seen some incredible things, then I'd be very interested to know what you've seen. And, you know, if you've ever seen anything like what I've just described. I described it as a procession when I had this experience. It's about 10 years ago now, I suppose. A procession of incredible, brightly coloured cartoon trees with pink, orange bananas, yellow smiley faces on every single one of them, and then a jolly gingerbread man la, 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 goes running by, and all different sorts of things happening, and crystal clear in my mind. And this is the thing, you see, we can see absolute crystal clear, and I've had experiences with the angels and you know, visions of my dad looking like Jesus and all different sorts of things. More real than real. So when we ask what is real, well, you know, what do you mean? Where? Who? What? Lots of things can be deemed to be more real, but what is real? That's the thing. It's just a concept. And these things come and go. So does that mean that they're not real? Because they come and go and you can't get them at will. They come randomly. What happens?
Oh, that was just chemicals in your brain.
No. No, it was something vastly over and above that. And then I do this thing whereby I get the palm of my hands and I press them onto my eyeballs. And you push the eyeballs as far back as they will go, which is not far because you can't push that far in, but maybe it's like 2 or 3 millimeters. And what happens is when you do that, your eyes will all get phosphenes in them and all go different sort of colours and all that sort of thing. But then what will happen is, what happens with me in any case, all of a sudden you just have like a phosphorus glow of white, which starts off in the middle and then just goes pow, and fills your head of the most brilliant, bright, white light that you could ever imagine. It's in your head. And then when that fades away, it is given to all different sorts of geometry, shapes and patterns, and then they finally fade away, and you end up like out in deeper outer space where you're looking at the cosmos and you can see nebula and constellations. And then when you focus on one particular planet or sun, you go nearer, nearer, nearer within a few seconds, and then lots of these planets, they just open up around you and you go through them and you continue on. You can actually see in 3 dimensions with your eyes closed in your head, like you're actually up in space. As above, so below, people. I've seen this shit, and I've seen it on myriad occasions, and I can do it right now and get a very similar thing. And when we experience these things, and then of course you can see constellations, and you get closer and closer and closer, and then they turn into some sort of a face, and then it's kind of like, what's this saying? That these constellations are, beings, they're conscious, and is it our brain's interpretation of seeing all that sort of stuff? Or does the mind just look for faces in things? Is that what consciousness does? We know that is one of the traits of consciousness, because even AI does that, you see. Even AI does that. Isn't that peculiar? For those of you that have seen this AI creation, whereby somehow they programmed it just to make of a situation whatever it will, and it created faces of dogs in everything, in handbags and shoes and people walking by, and the flow of the hair was a head of a dog and all this sort of stuff. Very bizarre. And so, wow, lots of really curious things about consciousness. And so because I had that experience, again, it's not every day. You have to be in a very deep space, and invariably it comes about with the music, because the music takes you straight away into this particular vibration. Because when you've got this vibration in both ears, then your brain very quickly acclimatizes to it, and so it drops its level of consciousness down from beta through to alpha into theta, and it remains there, and invariably it doesn't slip into delta. It stays in that realm. And so when you're in that realm, then all these sort of visions, they come. But I've never had it with the clarity where it's lasted quite a while. They're kind of like, they come, it's like, what's that? Wow, that was beautiful. Here's something else. And then it's like, pew, wee, hell, fireworks. And it's just so pleasant to watch. And so, I was moved by it. I've been moved by it for years. That stuff I started to experience, like I say, 10 years ago, via my meditation. And, I've had some really deep, incredible experiences via meditation, but they're very rare. And that's the thing, they're unpredictable. There's nothing you can do to bring this stuff around. They just happen spontaneously. And on a couple of occasions when the whole world is stood still whilst I've been out on a beautiful day, and you enter into the bliss, the love where you feel nurtured and cared for, and the world is for you. It's for you. That's what it tells you. It's all for you. It's like, wow. And it's incredible and beautiful. And then all of a sudden it fades away and your consciousness comes back, your ego comes back. And it's like, shit, I want to stay there longer. And you can stay there longer with DMT. And if you mix DMT with something else, I don't know, it's chaga or something, it gives you a about 30 minutes or 45 minutes in that realm. I've never done that, but I really want to. Because experiencing those incredible realms is just supernatural. And it changes your world. And it gives you a whole new experience on this thing called life. And I've heard that mescaline's a very beautiful experience as well. So that's on my list. Anybody done that? Got any stories to tell me? Down in the comments.